It's Bitcoin all-time high yet again, and the question remains, how quickly can we accelerate to $125,000? And is this the most uneuphoric? Yes, you heard that right, uneuphoric all-time high that we've ever seen, because so far that's what it looks like. I've ran a poll which you can look at in the at least the chat section right now. If you go through over here and you can see what the viewers are voting, right? Is this the most uneuphoric all-time high on a scale of 1 to 10? How euphoric do you feel right now that Bitcoin's at all-time high? And you can literally see where the majority of the viewers are voting between 3 and 6, which means they're not that euphoric, right? They're not feeling the tingles and jingles quite yet. Will we get to that point in time? I'm sure that they're all waiting for altcoin season. That's ultimately what you're waiting for. This has been a massive institutional bid for Bitcoin. And slowly but surely, we are starting to see some of the altcoins pick up over here. But we do need to see a little bit more. We'll talk about Bitcoin dominance as well, since that is going to be the ultimate guide to showcase what's most likely going to happen next for the altcoin sector. If we start to see a breakdown in Bitcoin dominance, usually that breakdown happens very, very aggressively. And you can see Bitcoin go from its highs all the way down to its lows in a matter of just weeks, which creates that absolute frenzy right within the crypto market. So at least I'm pretty content with where prices are at right now. I think that things are looking pretty good, pretty healthy. We'll talk about some trades that I've just opened. I did see in the comment section right now some of you asking specifically about the 𝗪𝗏𝗡 account where we're meant to be battling out the bots. I have my account over there. I've taken some trades right now. I'll share those with you in a minute. Stay tuned until the very, very end. And if you guys stay till the end as well, we do have a big surprise for you, right? So stay till the end. There is a big surprise that's coming up. Don't go anywhere, right? If we look at the DXY over here, DXY is still trying to gain acceptance underneath the bottom of the trading range. And we said this will really help the case for acceleration towards the downside with the DXY if it holds that acceptance underneath 100. And if it does do that, well, that's going to start to shift the sentiment within risk on assets and markets. And we should start to see USDT also breaking down, which has been one of the main things that we've been tracking. I've been updating the Discord members every single step of the way when it comes to this. You can see over here, we've been looking and tracking this each step of the way, looking for the fourth and final test into that level for potential breakdown. We said over there, that's going to be the fourth test. If you do come into that zone over there, you're looking for the breakdown, right? So tested that fair value gap. And this has really been one of the guides for how to position yourself within the market. So as we see the DXY come down, hopefully USDT dominance continues at the same rate, and that should lead to a little bit of acceleration. The stock market, however, has broken that trend line. Now we're looking at a low time frame. This is an hourly chart over here, but yesterday we highlighted this trend line. We said, be careful for the break of that trend line because there is going to be a lot of tight stop losses on long traders that have placed those there. And that could ultimately send the stock market down into the CME gap over here, which is coming in around 5,700. And so far, it seems to be following that trajectory. Now, Bitcoin, of course, is bucking that trend because Bitcoin is still moving towards the upside. So clearly, in the short term, a bit of decorrelation between Bitcoin and the stock market, as the stock market is not breaking out to new all-time highs right now. In fact, if we go onto the daily time frame, you can see in this regards, it's still got that, right? It's still got that going for it. And one thing I think we do need to be careful of is also this, right? If you look on some of the high time frames, let's just quickly draw this out or map this out for you on the weekly. You do still have the presence, right, of a bit of a falling wedge over here, which theoretically that falling wedge would have been broken, right? If you look at that falling wedge over there, that would have been broken. Gold also breaking all the way to 3,332. This was a key level where we wanted to see a bit of weakness. We haven't got that weakness, which means there is no short trade that's active. If it does start to break back down again, then again, you can start to look for weakness. And this is under the presumption that on the higher time frames, remember, we need to look on some of the high time frames that possibly gold has topped, right? So if this daily starts to occur as a swing failure pattern and turn red, there will be an opportunity for gold pullback. And again, that's going to be good for the rest of the crypto market. 24-hour liquidations over here. What's good is that we see this relatively balanced. That shows you that real FOMO hasn't actually entered into the market yet. And there is possibility for prices to continue to soar higher, right? So as I've suggested over there in the poll, which I hope you've all gone and voted, the most uneuphoric all-time high, at least that's the way that it feels, right? There's not that much engagement or excitement. Look at this. Some 38%, we now tie 38% are feeling less than a 3 on the euphoric scale, with 10 being the most euphoric. Very, very few people are feeling that way right now. And I just think that it speaks a lot to what's going on in the market right now. And I think that's because a lot of people weren't positioned from the beginning of the cycle in Bitcoin, and consequently they got absolutely smashed, and they may even be down on their positions, right? So I think studying the Bitcoin dominance, studying the USDT dominance as well can be two key indicators that will really, really help you for the rest of the cycle and the future cycles going forward. But many of you probably wonder, how much more upside do you have, right? We've said that this is relatively balanced. So in the short term, you could see continuation towards the upside, but over the next 3, 6, 9 months, are we going to continue with this bull run? Is there going to be, 200, 250K Bitcoin price targets? We've spoken about that a lot before. We spoke about the bearish divergences, triple bearish divergence actually on the weekly scale. I'll try to look for that chart in a minute and bring that up for you. And that's something we do need to be careful of. 24-hour liquidations. We have almost $500 million worth of liquidations. And interestingly enough, the discrepancy is not too big, right? 200 on longs, 300 million on shorts. So very, very, very similar, about a 60-40 split over there, right? So as it currently stands, I've started to open up some trades over here on ETH. I already have my stop loss in the break-even zone. I've been scalping ETH, on and off throughout. I've already taken this account now up almost 20%, I think it is. So I have a pretty high leverage trade that's in right now on Blofin. And I guess this is the part where we may as well mention a little bit of a surprise for you guys. For those of you that want to stay until the very, very end, if you go through to the link in the description below, right? If you go to the link in the description below, you'll see over here, and let's just scroll through. Where is that link? Where is that link? This one over here, right? It says over here, live crypto trading, right? Top altcoin setups before the big move happens. Click on that link. If you click on that link over there, it's going to take you through to this page, and you can see it's myself and Dylan, right? What we want to do for you guys is we want to go straight after the show over here, and we do want to actually go and do some live trading, but we need your help. The help that we need is click on that link, go through to that channel. If we can get to 41,000 subscribers before the end of the show, which should be very, very easy since there's already over 2,500 of you live right now, then we will go live on that channel. So go and subscribe to the Crypto Live channel. That's where we can take a more chilled approach, and we don't have to be, fully alpha packed in a short space of time like these shows, but we can sit back, relax, chill, and actually take some real trades. So for those of you that want that, who were asking about the Blofin account trades, well, that's where we're going to do it, right? So let's move the Blofin account through to there, and that's where we're going to go on that channel if we get the round number, right? 41,000. We need to see, you can see the subscribers are going up. We need 41,000 subscribers. Let's go, let's go, let's go, guys. Get those subscribers up. We would really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the other side of it there. So let's finish off over here on this show, and then we'll move over immediately after across if we do get it to the even extra 500 subscribers over there. So looking at Bitcoin over here, right? Yes, the RSIs are reaching, right? The stochastic RSIs are really reaching up into this higher territory. However, they can remain there for quite a long period of time, and that's actually where you see strong trending moves. The MACD also showcases that there's enough momentum to continue to drive this move towards the upside, but at some point you will put in a pretty big pullback. I don't believe that the next pullback that we see is the end of the cycle, but in fact, I believe that that's probably going to be the last buying opportunity. But the question is, how high could you rally before you even put in that pullback, right? Well, price can move very, very, very quickly when you're in this type of environment. And I think that the first target in mind over here is situated between about $120,000 and $130,000. And this is a target that we set out probably about a year ago already. The target was always about $125,000 for Bitcoin. And now we have some additional confluence with some short-term trends, whereby if we look at the Fibonacci retracement taken from the high of this move to the low of this move, what does it line up with? Well, your 1.618 fib extension is coming in at 130,949. So I think that's the first logical target. And these are clearly profit-taking targets as well, by the way, guys. Remember, bear markets are for buying aggressively into crypto. That's what we did. We did that between 16,200 and 17,200. We were full ported, 100% loaded up, long and strong, and ready for much more upside. The peak euphoria stage, when we start to enter into the end phase of a bull market, is theoretically for profit taking and selling. And you can use some of these targets as guidelines for where to take a little bit off the table, right? So $130,000, I would expect if we do get acceleration, this can happen very, very quickly. It could happen as soon as this week. You could easily see big candles occur over the next week or two, and then you're looking for some sort of a pullback. If you do get a perfect throwback into this horizontal support, that becomes a clear buy. And then I do believe that will be your final leg towards the upside. And only time will tell how high we actually go, right? So that's one of the key things that we're looking at over there. And that's all based on the Elliott wave count over here, which we have mapped out. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then we're busy completing a wave 5, right? So we don't know how far it's going to go to complete the wave 5. We can only speculate based on various different things, which is why it's so important you subscribe to the channels and watch each and every single day. Follow me on Twitter as well, X. The links are below, right? So what's interesting about that is if we look at simply the at least the horizontal breakout measured move of this rectangle, you can see where it's been ranging over here. The horizontal measured move takes you where? Well, slightly above that 1.618 fib extension, which is going to be 137,000, right? So a lot of things lining up. We highlighted as well both the long and the short trade setup over here. But remember, I want to be very, very clear, and I've said this over and over again. We told you that the short trade should not be taken unless you get the confirmation of the deviation, which would be the break below. And this still remains valid to this day, right? If you start to see prices deviate and break back below into the trading range over here, that does, and I want to be clear, that does become a short setup over there where ultimately you would probably be looking for much lower prices. In that instance, this would be a massive fake out, right? FO for fake out, a big fake out over there. I don't necessarily think that that's happening. Right now, the bias should be long and strong, and all you need to do is keep buying the dip as long as it remains above yesterday's candle high. Basically, that's your invalidation, right? Literally zoom in like this, and all you have to do is look at Bitcoin and look at yesterday's candle high, high, what am I saying? Yesterday's candle low. So I stand corrected, yesterday's candle low, not high, which is over here. As long as price action can remain above that wick over there, it's long and strong, right? If you break and close below that, then it's short. The short trade activates. So I'm literally going to map it out exactly for you, and we're going to put it in red because that's where the danger comes into play, and it's stuck there on the screen, right? 106,126. If price falls below 106,100 and in 28, 106,128, and especially if it closes over there, then your deviation is confirmed. You want to close all long trades and you want to flip short because you're probably going to break this trend line and then you're going to go for a deeper dip, right? Again, if that deeper dip occurs, I still believe that also becomes a buying opportunity for one more leg up, right? So it would look something like this. Let's play devil's advocate and say the bearish scenario plays out. You know, you'd probably see something like this. How low do you go? You know, you could literally go all the way back down to 90,000. You could put in a high low, and then you're going to run a turbo one more time with the same targets in mind, $125,000 to $130,000. That has been the longer term targets, right? So as it currently stands, long trade activated. You can remain in this position. This is where we previously took it. Eliminate the risk right now because why? Well, if price, of course, drops below yesterday's low, then you invalidate it anyway on the long trade. So perfect. You have a risk-free trade right now. This is a manual trade that you need to activate. It's not a limit order, right, on the short trade. All right, let's continue. So cycle-wise, how far are we in the cycle? Well, we are already currently situated exactly, let's just quickly pinpoint exactly, 925 days, right? 925 days. Now, you guys know that I've had the bull market countdown clock for a long time. I've had the bull market countdown clock. I bought the countdown clock about a year ago, and it's been ticking along, right? If we follow the cycle theory in accordance with what we've previously seen, the bull market tends to top between 1,000 and 1,100 days, which gives us 138 days left of the cycle, right? So you need to be, at least hyper focused, because that leaves you with approximately, what's that, 3, 8, 6, 9, 12. It's about 5 months left, and that is going to be the most optimistic case that it continues even that long, right? I think that each of you should be mentally prepared that at any point in time between now and 5 months from now, the cycle could be over, right? So you want to be mentally prepared for that. Use Bitcoin dominance as a guide to gauge when extreme greed comes into the market. Typically, Bitcoin dominance will break down in an aggressive manner, and then you'll start to see USDT also dropping to some key levels with everybody foaming into position. So will we play catch up, right? We've currently the purple cycle over here. I'll pop it on and off the screen. And the green one was 2021. and the orange one over here was 2017. And we've, of course, eliminated cycle 1 and 2 because of diminishing returns theory, which means that there's a lot of catching up to do for this cycle, right? So maybe things will start to go parabolic. Only time will tell. As it currently stands, you have a 100% long signal still intact. And we mentioned that signal over here as soon as you started to consolidate into the highs. We said the likeliness was very, very, very high that you were going to rapidly start to expand and break through that. You have the support of the 3, the 9, and the 30 moving average on the 5-day time frame, all in a full bull posturing. Remember, you want to study the angle of the move, right? There's actually a protractor, right? I almost said a projector. There's actually a protractor on TradingView, which any of you can utilize to see the speed of the move, which would look something like this, right? So let's highlight that, right? If we look at this area over here, what is the speed of the move using our protractor? Generally speaking, the trend was running at about a 27-degree angle, right? Then you go into this phase over here, and we look at this tight trading range over here, and we say, well, what was the speed of the move over there? 62. And then we have a look over here. What is the speed of the move over here? Now we're running at about a 66-degree angle. The reason this is vitally important is because it tells you how parabolic things are starting to go. You expect as you move through the cycles, you should see faster and faster acceleration towards the upside. And this will also simultaneously be met with those moving averages aggressively angling towards the upside. So if you start to get the purple moving average angling up in the same way that you have the yellow, that's your end phase, right? That's where things go absolutely bonkers. Price will be doing crazy things. You'll be getting $10,000 Bitcoin swings in a day, you know, $10,000 drop, $15,000 pump. It's going to be absolutely wild, right? That's something you need to be aware of. If that does happen, how do you survive? Well, firstly, don't go high leverage. You're going to get absolutely wrecked unless you know exactly what you're doing. Stick to spot. Take some chips off the table. Understand that this doesn't last very long, typically, right? So let's look over here quickly. We have Bitcoin. We also spoke about this. The consolidation above the high volume areas over here would be indicative that you're probably going to mark up and accelerate. You're now seeing that same story as what I previously mentioned. Yesterday's low is the invalidation on longs. You really want to see if there is any pullbacks that you continue to maintain that consolidation over here, and then you could lead to a further markup, right? USDT dominance over here. You know, we had touch point 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it was inevitable. The fifth one, I was actually looking for the break already on the fourth one, which would basically mean prices move up in cryptos when this moves towards the downside, right? So what I'm looking at right now is basically as long as it continues to remain under 4.51% over there, you continue to remain long. But areas of interest where you need to be careful of short-term pullbacks is going to be when this finds support at the yearly open. There's the yearly open at 4.31%. If you find support at 4.31%, you need to be really, really, really careful. That is where you could put in short-term bounces. Again, short-term bounces just mean short-term pullbacks, right? If that bounces like that, that's going to be a pullback, flushing out high leverage traders. And if you can start to drop this level and accelerate further down, we're talking about, that's where this starts to shift, right? Let's go back over here. That's where this starts to shift. And I would say that 70% of you will start to vote you on an 8 to 10 on the euphoria scale. Let's do a quick vibe check over here where we're at. Guys, go through, subscribe to the channel, right? The link is below. Let's get this to 41,000. If we get to 41,000, Dylan and I are waiting for you. There he is. Look at him, tentatively waiting for you to take some live trades. So go through, subscribe to that channel over there, and we want to go through and do some live trading with you guys. All right, let's continue. So another thing that we need to see tick towards the upside is the daily exchange volume. There's a 7-day moving average. We have the potential to put in a high low over here, but as it currently stands the last couple of days, this has still been trending down, right? There it is. Each and every day, volume continues to diminish. Will the headlines of all-time highs for Bitcoin bring the masses, right? Well, hopefully it will. Hopefully it will bring the masses, because if we go through to the YouTube views, these remain very, very, very low. It's abysmal. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Look at where we were in 2021 when we started to mark up. Now, this could mean one of two things. One, retail are never coming back. They got too heavily wrecked. I know you retail. I know I'm retail. If you're not trading institutional money, you are retail, but we way less retail, right? We a niche select group, right? So well done. Congratulations to each of you sticking out. So it means one of two things. Either the masses are not coming back, retail masses are not coming back, or you could take the more optimistic viewpoint and you can say, maybe the masses are still coming and Bitcoin really is going to mark up all the way to $200,000, right? That would be good to see. That would really, really, really be good to see. All right, ETH. Full send level. That's why I am long on ETH, right? I'm absolutely long on ETH over here. I've just opened up some new positions. Again, I've been scalping, so open, close, open, close. I've been intraday trading this ETH chart, but this is the full send level. I want to see multiple candles close above the full send level, which is 2,585. I did do a show on this yesterday, and I actually warned you a couple of months ago already about ETH and why I think ETH is a wonderful, wonderful trade to take. Where are we trading this to? Well, we want to trade this to at least 3,300, right? Which means that it's still a big upside move to come over here for ETH. You're looking at about, another 27 to 30% for ETH, and then we can reevaluate, right? We can reevaluate from that point. So ETH looking strong over there. I'm liking the way that this is starting to round out. Momentum oscillator rising, recapturing. I'm on low time frame, by the way, guys. Recapturing that 50 EMA. That's what I want to see. I literally just opened this. You can even see I am on high leverage. I'm on 10x leverage over here, but I'm using ETH as collateral for the trade, right? So currently, I have closed this multiple times. I think that we started this account over here with about $5,000 worth of ETH, and we're using ETH margin longs, meaning it's using the Ethereum as collateral and settling the contract in ETH. So all profits or losses are settled in ETH. If you lose part of your spot ETH. If you gain, they're giving you ETH towards your spot, right? Your spot position. So all gains are realized in Ethereum, and that's just to maximize the upside potential, which if you don't know what you're doing is very, very risky. But if you do know what you're doing, I think it's a great opportunity. I've almost doubled this account already, right? And this is on Femex. So reopen that trade basically right over here, and that's under this, right? Under the basis that on the 5-minute time frame, we're starting to get the momentum oscillators run it back towards the upside. We do need to recapture some key levels over here in the very, very short term, but we can discuss this on the other show, right? Let's quickly see where we're at. So let's get those likes or these subscribers up, guys. So subscribe to the other channel over there. We do want to go live, right? Look at that. We need about almost 400 more of you, 400 more of you. You guys can do it, and then we can go trade live over there. All right, so that's the ETH trade. For those of you, by the way, that want to take advantage of Femex, there's a link in the description below over here. They do currently have a VIP onboarding where you can save massive amounts on fees, right? If you're a big trader, you can go through over there. You can apply for the VIP trading account where they give you a massive reduction on fees. Remember, fees add up, right? Some exchanges you might be paying as much as $30, $40 for a trade, right? This adds up to hundreds of thousands if you're a big trader over time, right? Yeah, my trading volume is very, very high, right? I've saved a lot of money coming to exchanges like this. So there's a link in the description for you guys. All right, let's continue. BTC. Okay, BTC. Let's have a look at ETH because we're more interested in that right now. That's where the predominant trades are. Remember, guys, BTC will give you a bit of an indication as to where the rest of the market is going to go over time. If Bitcoin remains above yesterday's low, candle low, the wick low, then ultimately you expect everything else is going to slowly move towards the upside. If BTC dominance, where's my BTC dominance chart? Let me see if I can bring that in view. Firstly, let's put in the ETH BTC chart, right? ETH BTC also has the potential to put in a high low over here, right? So we temporarily faked out and broke this long-term downtrend on the daily time frame. And now you have the opportunity to really shift the momentum. So what I'm thinking is most likely to occur is somewhere within here, even if you do dip down a little bit further on the ETH BTC chart, this is going to start to create the first high low, right? So you got your low, you got your first high. This would be the first high low, and then you're looking for mass acceleration. Now, there's no way that we want to hold this long term, right? We're not ETH maxis. All of these things basically bleed against Bitcoin over time. This is simply a trade to make higher profits in dollars and realize those profits in USDT, right? Let's quickly have a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Let's pull that into view as well. All right, Bitcoin dominance over here. So still looking strong. I'm not going to lie. This is still looking strong. Maybe we have a look on the lower time frames to see if there's any chance of a breakdown. You know, you'd really need to set in a lower high over here. Pretty much right at this point, this was the first place that we started to see a shift within the market structure. Why was there a shift, right? It's all about the trend. Higher highs and high lows, right? Higher highs and high lows. And what happened over here? This was your previous high low and you broke it, right? Right over there, you broke it. If you can set in a lower high over here, this is going to be phenomenally good for the altcoin sector to start to catch a bit, right? So one thing we can do is we can have just a look on this low time frame, and we can just see some of these fib levels, and let's just see more or less how this lines up. That is the wrong one. 1 second over there, guys. So, okay, right now price has, or at least the Bitcoin dominance has moved slightly above the 0.618% level, right? 7.86, right? These are the levels usually where you see the biggest reversals. The biggest reversals on the most extended moves occur between the 786 and the 886. So maybe, just maybe, you set in the lower high right there in the green box. I would mark that off on my chart. Keep an eye out on it. It is a possibility, right? Pink zone over there. This zone, I'll highlight it as well with a label, price label. There we go. Let's put 64%. And on the higher end, that's our areas of interest. 64.64 and 64.99, right? Those are the areas of interest for possible lower high. If we get that, it's full send in altcoins, right? Full send in altcoins. Okay. Let's see. You can look over here. Remember what I said to you about ETH? We've been saying this day after day after day after day. We said you're probably going to form some sort of a trading range, which is going to be your range low every time that you print negative funding. That's exactly what we did, right? We printed negative funding over there. And if you heard the squeaky mouse, guys, it's Dylan in the background. I think he's trying to get you guys to subscribe. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Subscribe. The link is in the description below. For those of you that have just joined, go through to Crypto Live over here. Click on that. When you go through, subscribe to the channel. If we get enough subscribers there now, Dylan and I will go live on that show, and we'll do some live trading with you. Okay. All right. What else? ETH. Let's talk about the high time frames on ETH. Since we're long on ETH, we're again viewing this as the potential of being a high low, right? If ETH can mark up aggressively over the course of this week and start to recapture 2,860 like that, this flips into support. That becomes the next buying opportunity for the latecomers. And then you're looking for acceleration, and you're trading the range from 2.8 all the way up to 4.2. That's essentially the plan. The plan of action is watch ETH accelerate from here to 3,300, pull back into 2.7, higher low, accelerate towards the new all-time highs, probably consolidate, and then acceleration further, and then we're all rich. Then we don't have to buy Nissan Sunnies anymore. We can buy Lamborghinis, right? How does that sound, Dylan?
Sounds good to me, bro. Sounds good. This is entertaining. I'm enjoying this.
Should we go on this channel? I don't know. They haven't all subscribed yet. We still need a few more.
I've set the show for 6 minutes time, but come first. Hurry up, and then we'll just keep waiting for you guys.
The question is, do you actually have any trades?
I got a couple of breakouts we can play with.
Are we running out of time? Do we need to move that side?
I caught the Bitcoin short, and then I caught the long yesterday, and I actually need your help. You need to tell me which one to close, but you can tell me on the live channel.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that. But we need enough subscribers. We said we set a hard rule over here. We need to get to 41,000. If we get to 41,000, we're going to head over there. I see some of you said you're already subscribed, so they're going to unsubscribe and resubscribe. That doesn't help. You need to send it to a friend.
Productive to me. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. Okay, guys, hurry up. I'm prepping some setups here. Okay, so I'll be waiting on the other side.
Okay, what we'll do, guys, we're going to move over onto the other side in just a minute. Get your Blowfin accounts ready. There's a link in the description below. There's absolutely zero KYC that's required over there. We are cooking on this trade over here, 21% up right now. I am highly leveraged. This is a 20x long trade over here. And this is actually against the battle of the bots, right? Against the battle of the bots. So we are, I think I'm up about, there we go, equity, 5.7, started with 5K. Plus the 556 profit right now. So we're sitting approximately 25% profit on this account. I don't know if Dylan's been trading it. We're going to find out now, right? We're going to find out in a minute.
I'll tell you my full story. I'll tell you the full story.
It sounds like you got liquidated and you're making excuses.
I got a one trade system that I'm going to take him out in one trade, and I missed my entry.
Okay.
I'll tell you guys.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, let's head over to that side, right? Let's head over to that side. Use the link in the description below. There's no delay. We're literally going straight there. Dylan is going on the other channel right now to start it. We got 3 minutes and 25 seconds left, and we're going to begin. Get yourself a cup of coffee and let's go, let's go, let's go. So thank you. That's it from me on this channel. I will see all of you on the next one. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. And we're going to take some live trades. Get your Blowfin accounts ready, and we'll catch you on the other side. Cheers.